Rick and Morty, season 8, episode 3. So this episode, we don't really follow like our Rick and Morty. We follow other Rick and Mortys. Mainly we follow a like farmer Rick. He's like a farmer. And then we follow another Morty who I believe they call Arcade Morty. He's kind of like a cool Morty. So this is pretty much telling you the ramifications of what has happened to the Citadel of Ricks since it was destroyed. They are trying to rebuild and make a new Citadel, this time on a planet, not like in space. They're using like the wreckage of the Citadel has now landed on a planet, and on that planet they are now trying to rebuild it. And we find out that a lot of the Mortys have moved from the Citadel, the new one, to like a Morty town on a planet, right? And basically the story is that this farmer Rick lives in that Morty town. He's just trying to do his thing, you know? He's just living his life on a farm, doing whatever. But a bunch of other Ricks from the Citadel show up to gather all the Mortys because they are... The Ricks who are living in the Citadel are using the Mortys to create clones. To create a bunch of clones, bunch of Morty clones. And that's a big thing in this one, is that a lot of the Ricks, pretty much all the Ricks and Mortys in this episode are not actually Rick and Morty, they are clones. Bar one Rick, which is the farmer. The farmer was actually the head of cloning at the Citadel, and he's the only one who's the actual Rick, right? They're all the Ricks are clones from him. And the bad guy Rick in this one, who's kind of like going to be like the new head of the Citadel, he's like a fat, like Texan Southern Rick. He kind of looks like Colonel Sanders, and he's like, he was originally created to sell gumbo. They did a good job, actually, I think, of making him seem intimidating and terrifying a lot. I do think they did that. But essentially what happens is the Morty town is destroyed. Pretty much all the Mortys are kidnapped and taken to the Citadel to be used for the cloning experiments. The farmer Rick then decides, because they vandalized where he lived, they had vandalized his farm, so he's going there to get revenge, not to save the Mortys. He finds two other Mortys have made it, and they stowed away on his ship, and all three of them go to find out, where the Citadel is and destroy it. That's pretty much what happens. And it's a good episode. It's a nice way to show you what's happened since the Citadel was destroyed. Showed you how they were trying to build, what it was going to look like. And show you just all of that. That was real nice. Again, this is an episode again where it's like our Rick and Morty are not there a lot. They're there at the very beginning to kind of introduce you to this planet. Then they disappear, and then they show up at the very end to kind of bookend everything. And it's like showing you the contrast while all these Ricks and Mortys are fighting each other. Then you have our Rick and Morty who are just being pals and just like, hey, my Morty lost his fidget spinner. Is it still here? I found it. You were right. You didn't leave it in the car cushions. I admit when I'm wrong. You know what, Rick? Thank you for that. And they leave. It's a nice little contrast there. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode. A lot of death, a lot of Rick deaths in this episode. A lot of Morty deaths as well in this episode. The whole thing with Farmer Rick and his whole thing with Arcade Morty was kind of fun. I like that dynamic. They were like the Rick and Morty duo mainly of this episode. Like I said, Gumbo Rick, as I'm going to call him, was a great villain. I liked him. And like I said, it was real nice to see what the Citadel was going to be, or what the future is going to be. Eventually, once the Citadel is destroyed again, all the Mortys are then, they all go to like their own planets and own place to feel where they belong. And, Arcade Morty's like, no more Morty towns, no more all of this, Mortys grouping together. Let's go out on our own. And all the other Mortys go to a planet to find out, where they belong. And then Arcade Morty just goes back to the original planet he was from, and he kind of like, he makes a grave for Farmer Rick, and then just kind of like, sits at like the broken farm. So that's probably where he's gonna be now. He's probably just gonna rebuild that place and run that farm on his own, I would assume. But it was a nice episode. It was a real nice episode. It was definitely better than last week's. I had more fun. And yeah, I enjoyed this week's episode. A lot of fun. Is it better than the premiere? The premiere is still really good. I like this episode as well too. Yeah, definitely better than last week's. I can definitely say that. So that's it. That's Rick and Morty episode 3. What did you think? If you liked it, leave it in the comments down below, and I will see you guys all next time.